changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
I was only officially ordained and in a church for 5 years, but I spoke in churches for 25 years, small churches. When I was in ministerial school, I also spoke at a small church in Surfside Beach, South Carolina for a long time. And you would at first look forward to Christmas and you would look forward to Easter. And then eventually you would get to where those holidays would seem like a real drag because you couldn't think of anything new. You couldn't think of anything fresh to put on it. And one of the things that I always enjoyed doing was reading the Christmas story. For lo, there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled, and Joseph also came up from Galilee, etc., to the city of David to be enrolled with his espoused wife. And I would read that and I would comment on that. And one of the things that's interesting is that when we have the nativity, when we have the angels, when we have the star, when we have the stable, when we have all of the animals, you have to literally piece together all of the four gospels. You have to take, John doesn't begin with the birth of Jesus, but you have to take the three gospels, the synoptic gospels, and lift parts from it. And so it's something that is created in our own hearts and minds. The Christmas story is something that is created in our own hearts and minds. And it is not, in my opinion, a religious story. It's one of the great Joseph Campbell heroes stories. I watched a masterclass taught by Aaron Sorkin, who wrote the new movie Being the Ricardos, as well as Lincoln and West Wing. And he talks about that story arc that Joseph Campbell talks about. And that is that you have to take an heroic figure and you have to put them under time pressure to get somewhere. And along the way, there has to be a transformation. And the transformation has to be towards a higher self. The person doesn't necessarily have to achieve the goal. The person has to experience a personal transformation. And this story is perfect in that, if you think about it. The story of this man and his espoused, not married, they were engaged wife. So it was his fiancée. And they had to get to the city to be registered for a census so they could be taxed. By the way, none of this is historically accurate. There's no record of the Romans having everyone come in to their home city to be registered or anything like that. People were simply taxed where they were. But again, it's a great story. And so they have to scurry from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and they have to be registered. And along the way, they have to experience difficulties, which is, again, the Joseph Campbell myth. And they cannot get into the inn. Now, the inn is not the kind of, Holiday Inn suites we think of. An inn was simply a big room with locks on it that people could go inside and be safe from marauders who are out basically killing people all the time. And so that's what an inn was. And to be told that there was literally no room to be safe, you would have to go out and be in this stable. And then, of course, you have the transformation. You have a new life that begins. Early on, I found out that Christ was not Jesus' last name. By the way, if you're hearing this in any way as religious or proselytizing, you're missing my point. Christ was not Jesus's last name. Christ it came from the Greek Christos. In the Hebrew, it is Messiah. It simply means the anointed one. As the Hopi Indians say, you are the one you've been waiting for. And so in the story, there is difficulty. There is a feel the need to get somewhere. And there's a change that happens along the way. And then you have the Christ Mass, the celebration of this anointed one, the arrival of the higher self. And so, regardless of your faith, I want you to consider December 24th, going into December 25th, an opportunity to experience your own higher self, your own divinity, the part of you that become along the way, along with the scars and the broken hearts and the tears and everything else. Think of the ground you've covered. Think of the things that you have become more of. Think of the things that you have learned and experienced about yourself. Think of the goodness that is in yourself, the higher part of you. Because of our negativity bias, so often human beings are focusing on what is wrong with themselves, things that they have done less, let's say, subpar to what it is they would like. And we all have that higher self. We all have that better self. And that's what we want to celebrate. That's what Christmas is about, the Christ Mass, the celebration of the Anointed One. And as we remember, like I mentioned before, as the Hopi Indians put it so well, I just thought of another way of saying it. But basically, you are the one that you have been waiting for. And to take that authority and that power in your life and to begin to live from that power and from that authority, and to realize the control that you have in your life and the ability you have to manifest more in your life. I was talking to somebody yesterday and we were talking about quantum physics and this whole idea. By the way, if you want to help understand quantum physics, watch the animated Spider-Man movie, the multiverse. But the idea is that basically everything you desire, everything you want exists in various places already. You just have to become an energetic and harmonic match for it. And that is to believe it for yourself. I forget who it was that said that if you have something that's incurable, it means that it's incurable from within. And to even approach life that way, to have that healing power within yourself. I started out by saying that when Christmas came around and sometimes when Easter came around, when I was a pulpit minister, as they called us, I would sometimes go, oh, how am I going to put a fresh spin on this? And I realized this morning I didn't want to put a fresh spin on this. I wanted to put a very old spin on this. And that is to say that within each of us, there is this same hero's journey. If you think about it, supposedly in the story, Mary and Joseph had a limited amount of time to get registered. Well, you have a limited amount of time to live. You already are fighting the clock. Human beings are the only animals that know eventually they're going to die. So you know that. You're already impelled to move forward. Now, what does forward look like for you? Where are you heading? That's something we've been talking about for the last few days. Where is it you want to go? Where is it you want to be? How will you know if you've made it or if you feel successful? What does that feel like for you? And along the way, in your attempts to become that person, to demonstrate those things, you will change, you will transform. I think this is why Hindus Hindus for sure have this belief of an evolution to a higher state of being in multiple lives. It would be like, why would you go through this entire life, learn all the things you've learned, and not come out on the other side bigger, better? The real opportunity is to become that here now, to do the best you can. And as I keep saying, everybody's already doing their best and everybody can do better. And we begin to do better when we start to tap into and ask ourselves, what is that better part of me? What is that part that is making the world and my own life better? Good questions, huh?
No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining people. Their lives are changing.